If you're over 50 and feel like your metabolism isn't what it used to be, then listen to this. I didn't lose fat by cutting carbs and skipping meals. I did it by focusing on plant proteins, just like the ones I'm going to show you today. Today I'm going to be showing you some shredded tofu tacos that are going to hit the spot. These are the types of meals that I eat to lose fat, especially being well over 50. Hi, my name is Debbie and this is my channel, Chew on Vegan. Welcome. As some of you know, I am a registered nurse and I have been plant-based for almost 15 years. I like my meals to be protein focused because as a postmenopausal woman, I do need more protein to help support and grow muscle. After your estrogen starts waning, then you really start losing muscle, and especially after the age of 50. So these tacos that I'm going to show you today are over 20 grams of protein. They're delicious, they're filling, and super duper easy. As always, the full recipe will be in the description box along with all the resources that I offer. And then later in the video, I'm going to give you a little health update. I spoke about it in my last video and I did go to the doctor this week, so I'm going to give you a little update on that. Nothing serious, but just a quick little update. Alright, let's get right to it. Let's start shredding that tofu. So we're going to start by grating up our tofu. You want a super firm tofu, it works better. I'm using the Trader Joe's super firm, but there's most stores have their own brand, or you'll find a brand that works. You want your box grater, and then I'm going to use a little safety glove here. This is a to help you not get cut, because if you've ever cut yourself on a grater, you know it hurts and it seems to bleed forever. So I'm going to grate up about 340 grams of this tofu, and it's just like you would think. You're just going to grate it like you would a block of cheese, not that we eat cheese. And then I'm going to weigh out, like I said, 340 grams. That's going to give me 4 tacos. I'm just going to continue to grate my tofu, and then we're going to prepare it and put it in the oven. So I've got all my tofu grated. I'm going to put it on a lined baking sheet here. Spread it out. Then you're going to want to use some kind of taco seasoning, or you could do your own with, you know, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, whatever. But I like convenience here. Now, I love the Siete brand, but they were having a big sale on all the Siete products, so I ended up getting the fajita seasoning because the taco seasoning was all out. But I looked at the ingredients, it's basically the same thing. So whatever kind of seasoning mix you would like that's, you know, in the Mexican flavor. And we're just going to eyeball it. I may use the whole package, I don't know. So just sprinkle it all on. And I think I'm going to use the whole thing. Then using your hands, you just mix it all up. Make sure everything gets coated. Now I've got my oven preheating at 425, and we're going to leave it in there for at least 15 minutes, then we're going to check it. And then we may cook it longer, just till it gets to your desired consistency. I like mine a little bit crispy, but not super crispy. So we'll just put this in the oven and then say 15-20 minutes. If you want to stir it halfway through, you could do that as well. All right, this is going to go in the oven and then we'll put it all together. We're also going to whip up a little creamy taco sauce. And I've just got a half a cup of my Greek yogurt. You can use whatever kind of yogurt you want. I prefer my own and the Greek style. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of salsa. This is just mild salsa. You could add hot sauce to it if you would like. And then I have some salt and some Mexican seasoning. And this is the seasoning, the Mexican seasoning that I prefer. And you can get this at most grocery stores. So just a quarter teaspoon of that and a quarter teaspoon of salt. So we'll add that in. And then you're just going to whisk it. And then you want to taste it to see if you need to add any more spices. I'm going to add some black pepper to it as well. And then we're just going to put a couple tablespoons onto our tacos, and they're just going to taste amazing. All right, and that's it for the sauce. So just a quick little health update. I had mentioned in my last video, Fat Loss 101, that I was having some pain in my left foot. So I did go to the podiatrist this week, and I have an aroma in my foot. And it's very painful, and I've been dealing with it for about 6 months, but it's gotten progressively worse to the point where I actually went to the doctor, and he told me, in fact, it was an aroma. And what an aroma is a painful, benign thickening of the nerve. That nerve tissue gets irritated, gets inflamed, and it can be very painful. It's burning, it's tingling, it goes through a lot of different kinds of pain. It's very weird. I had never felt anything like it. I had plantar fasciitis years and years ago, and that was painful as well, but this is a different kind of pain than that. And it can be triggered by wearing high heels, high impact sports, wearing narrow shoes, and really I don't do any of that. I think what mine was triggered by was my walking. I walk a lot, maybe too much, but I do. I'm a big walker, and I know I needed new inserts in my shoes, so my podiatrist gave me new inserts. He also gave me a cortisone shot, and he gave me a prescription for an anti-inflammatory, which I'm going to take for 2 weeks. And we're going to see if we can calm this nerve down. I'm going to ice my foot twice a day and not do as much walking. They don't want you to be completely immobile, but I will be cutting down on my walking, which I have been because it just hurts too much to walk. I'm still going to the gym and still working out with weights. No excuse. I'm going to still be doing that. So I will keep you updated. I also wanted to let you know that my t-shirts are still available. I have a few left. I think I have 1 medium, 1 large, and a few extra large. So if you've been wanting to get a shirt, now is the time. Also, my online course will be going away as of the end of March. It will no longer be available. So if you've been wanting to get that, now is the time. The platform that I have it on, it's just way too expensive for me, so I'm taking it down, and I may do a revision or a different kind of course in the future, but if you're a true beginner, that's a great course to get. So all the links will be down below for that. And that's about it with my updates. All right, let's get back to the tacos. And for the tortillas, I'm going to be using these almond flour tortillas, and you could use whatever kind of tortillas you want. I'm gluten-free because I have celiac, so I am going to use the almond. You could use corn tortillas. I just wanted something different, and these sounded good. And they're pretty decent macros. And yeah, I'm going to give them a try. Pretty clean ingredients. I really like the Siete brand, their products, so I'm going to use these today. You just want to heat up a skillet, non-stick skillet, on high heat for a couple of minutes, and then just a quick 15-20 seconds on each side for these tortillas. Okay, I'm about ready to plate this stuff up. All right, we have our tortilla. We've got some of our creamy sauce. I just like to put a little bit on the bottom. And then we fill this up, and then you're just going to eat it like a taco. Another tablespoon on there. If you wanted to add some lettuce, you could do that, avocado. And then just fold it up and enjoy. So here you go, finished product. I added some broccoli, like to get my fiber in. Always want to add veggies to your plate. And I'm going to go enjoy these, and then I'm going to give you the macros. Alright, so the macros as promised. So this is going to be for 1 taco and 100 grams of broccoli, because I always want to pair broccoli or some kind of veggie with my food, with my meals. It's very important to bulk up your meals. with things that are low calorie so you can have large volumes of food, so you can feel full, get that fiber, and then also get your protein. And right now I am in a cut, so that means I am reducing my calories, so it's even more important to keep the calories low and keep that protein up there, because I don't want to lose muscle in the process. All right, so I got my notes here. So for one taco, 2 tablespoons of the sauce and the broccoli, it's a total of 272 calories, 11 grams of fat, 29 grams of carbs, 23 grams of protein, and 6 grams of fiber. So technically I could have 2 tacos if I wanted and it would still be super low and I would get double the protein there. But for that particular meal that I'm talking about, it's just 1 taco, 2 tablespoons of the sauce, and then 100 grams of steamed broccoli. So those are the types of meals you want to eat. You want to bulk it up with veggies, make half your plate veggies, and then focus on high quality protein like tofu, like tempeh. If you're lucky enough to be able to eat wheat, seitan, edamame. Those are really good sources of protein. And then there's secondary proteins like beans and lentils, which have protein, but they're basically a carb with some protein in it. They're not mainly protein like tofu, seitan, tempeh, edamame, things like that. So keep that in mind when you're building your plate, and that way your protein will be on the higher side and then your whole plate will be lower calorie because you're filling it with all those yummy non-starchy vegetables. And I have had questions about, am I eating starches? Of course, always. I'm a potato girl, always. I love my potatoes, I love my rice, and I put those on my plate as well. So absolutely, those are perfectly acceptable whether you're in a cut or on maintenance. So just a couple little tips there. So if you like this video, if you learned something, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you've made it this far in the video, please comment below with tacos, and that way I know you made it to the end with me, and I really appreciate your support. Remember, all my recipes are good for you, they're good for the animals, and they're good for the planet, and what you put on your plate determines your fate. Until next time, thank you.